So what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another Amazing Dads podcast. So on today's episode, I want to speak on three things that I believe that could be foundational pieces that play a part in raising our children. So these things I believe that are pretty much building blocks as to the importance of why we need these things in order to get our children ready for the outside world. Pretty much when they want to get out, be on their own, whenever they are doing their own thing and we're not around. So I believe that this is the time where we need to make sure that they are ready. So the three building blocks that I want to talk about are how we provide for them, how we protect them, and the way we prepare them. So the first thing I want to speak on is how do we provide for our children? And I'm not talking about from a money side, because anybody can pretty much do that for the most part. If you think you're doing everything for your child just by providing them with the money, you buy them everything they want, you're not getting them ready. You're making them spoiled. Let's get that out of the way right now. So from a father's perspective of what I'm speaking is, the way that you can provide for them is to give them a safe environment. You don't know what your child could be going through, and you want to make sure that you give them the right type of environment where they can, express and talk about, things that may be going on, questions they may have that they don't know how to ask, and you want to make sure that you are giving them the right type of environment where they can do those things. And it's also more about providing them with the necessary tools where that they can, have life skills and get some educational things in there as well. So educational can be two different ways to look at it. Not only is it school, but also some things that you can learn at home. The educational side, the educational side of it too is just that you're not going to learn everything you need to learn to get ready for the world in school. That's not how life works. And any father that is involved with their children will know firsthand, like, hey, I got to teach you some things outside of school, because they're not going to teach you this pretty much in the school setting, because obviously they're not required to teach you those things. So as a parent, especially for a father, make sure that we're teaching our kids those necessary life skills that's going to help them not only survive, but also thrive out there in the outside world. All right, so that's the first one. How do you provide for them? The second thing is protection. And I'm not talking about locking them down, security, camera everywhere, you tapping their phones or whatnot. Don't do that. What I mean by protection, I mean just give them a safe haven where they feel fine with taking the risk. They are fine to fail, and they have room to grow. This is going to be very essential, especially for when they get outside of the world and pretty much be on their own. When you're letting them take those risks, you're pretty much giving them like, hey, I know I kind of have a chance to do this, but I know if I fail, I know that I have, your father, your mom, whoever, parent you want to go to, that they will come there and they will, help you out. Maybe in those situations where you don't understand, you don't know what to do. So offering that type of protection, especially from a father, that, hey, don't worry about it, you good. Just understand that, hey, for next time, this is how we gotta do things. And just being that shield for your children, whereas when they do take those risks, just know that, hey, I got your back. Don't worry about it. Just know that we're gonna learn from it, and it's not gonna, hinder you from taking more risk in the future, especially when you're out of your own. Because life is about taking some risks, and there's gonna be some risks that you need to take if you want to get to that level that you haven't been there yet. So not only about that, it's all about also protecting their self-esteem and even their emotional well-being. So especially coming from a father, you don't always have to be like the tough guy. That's not necessary. You also gotta know how to tap into that emotional side of things, and this just to not only think logically about things, but also think somewhat from an emotional standpoint as to how this is going to make someone feel after the decision is made versus how it's going to either help you in the long run and why these decisions are being made. So there's two sides to, how you want to address that. And the shield that you, as a father, that you want to give to your children, just that, hey, your feelings are safe here. There's no judgment. I just want to make sure that you are managing those feelings in the correct way, and we can work through whatever situation may be going on. So don't be afraid as a father to have those conversations. Be authentic in your approach, and just know that everything is not always being like, hey, I got to be the man, and so I got, we don't, do that. It's like, nah, that's not always the case. There's a wave of things that kids go through, especially that parents, that you might have gone through, that you may not want to see your child being put through the same way. So be that shield to protect them in the sense of, it's okay to have these feelings. It's okay to feel this way about certain things, but let's make sure that we manage them in the right way, where that it doesn't overcome you, but you can also think logically in these situations. Okay. Lastly, we wanted to talk about how do you prepare your children for the world, and it's pretty much going to come down to, as parents, is being the example. What experiences can you share for your children to let them know that, hey, I've been there, I know, I've seen my fair share of this. This is what, is going to happen, what can happen, what will happen. And even if you don't believe me, I know people who have done it, and this is what's come of this. You know what I mean? So teaching them as much as you can just through the experience. Find someone who is more experienced in this field that maybe your children are concerned, have questions about, want to get more information on, just so that the exposure will help them realize, like, hey, maybe this is something I want to do, or maybe this is something I shouldn't do. And it could really have a positive impact on them. Maybe it could drive them to maybe trying more things in the decisions that they want to make, especially for their own future. Even learn to, think ahead on things, as far as like, if I made the decision, what impact will I have on me, my family, the people around me, my friends, how to have what they say about the butterfly effect. A lot of decisions does have a compounding effect on things, whether you see it, know it, or not. There's a lot of things that's pretty much fall on top of each other as far as like what's going to happen. But just understanding, just from a parent's perspective, is to help your child be prepared for what's to come, just through exposure and experiencing as many do things as you can, and also not being afraid of taking a loss. That's really where you learn the most. You're not going to learn a lot from winning, truth be told. You learn more just from the loss that you take, because that's where I believe you'll gain most of the experience that you can. You know what didn't work, what you can do better, what you can improve on, and you will come back stronger, better than you ever would have thought you could. So that's just how you want to, prepare things. You got to practice. You practice to become better. You don't practice for perfection. You practice to be better. That's what it is. So just to recap on what I've been talking about. A father's responsibility that I believe comes down to three foundational pieces of what we want to provide for our children. How do we provide for them? How do we protect them? And how do we prepare them? I'll say make sure y'all leave comments on enough to let me know, like, what it is that you're doing, that how you provide, how you protect, and how you prepare your children for the future. What are three foundational pieces that you go off of that you believe that is working for your children and how you want to raise them? This is pretty much a fatherhood community that I'm trying to do here. So, hey, anything at this point is welcome. So, make sure, if you haven't already, if you haven't subscribed yet, subscribe. If you like the video, like it. If you want to leave a comment, please leave a comment. Also, share it to everybody. And also, hype it up. Hype up the videos, get it out to everybody, because everybody needs to see this, all right? Especially all the adult fathers out there. And I'll leave in the description below to make sure that you go check out my online store, where I do have some apparel. And I want that to also be another driving force to show support and why fatherhood is just a cool thing to do. Yeah, that's all I have for today. So until next time, y'all take care.